Welcome to Heber Valley Life, the podcast that celebrates the people, projects, and passions shaping our mountain community. Each episode, we sit down with the dreamers, doers, and difference makers who are building a better future right here in the Heber Valley. From local businesses and artists to civic leaders and everyday heroes, this is where their stories come to life. I'm Rachel Kahler with the Community Alliance for Main Street, and I'm really excited to welcome Dallin Koecher, Director of the Tourism, Economic Development, and
Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce. So thanks for coming, Dallin. We've got a special message today. You had an opportunity to go to Italy as part of an observer program and see the Olympics in person. So I would just love to hear your experience and how you got there.
Yeah, sure. I love that intro about the different people who make this town great, and especially the dreamers. Like, if you ever come to my office, I have a little name tag that says "Daydreamer" on there. So that's one of my favorite roles in our community. So yes, I got to go to be part of the Utah Olympic Observer Program. So Utah has a organizing committee, and I'm not directly involved with that organizing committee, but they invited people who are in host communities. So Heber Valley is a host community to Soldier Hollow, and we will host those biathlon Nordic events there. And the IOC, an International Olympic Committee, organizing committee, they provide this observer program for future Olympics to come and be a part of this. Kind of learn from the current Olympics. What are their successes? What are their missteps? What are their learnings? And what are their findings? And all that interesting things. And I got to go to be part of that because we have Soldier Hollow here in Wasatch County, and I was invited to participate. And what I looked at, I wasn't going there in terms of how to run an event venue. I was there which I learned a lot about that, but I was there to observe the cities and the communities and the vibe that those cities and communities had around the Olympics. And so a simple invitation, and then working with my board and the plan it and budget out, and that's how we got to go to Italy. So
I love it. What a great opportunity.
Yeah, and I was excited. I'm glad I went because I learned a lot, and I was the only one from Wasatch County that went. A lot of other communities had 3 or 4 people from different other communities go, and so it would have been a real miss if we hadn't been able to have anybody there. It was a great learning experience, and if we had waited till like 2030 to go to the French Alps, 4 years later, that's almost not enough time to get things done. So I'm glad I got to see the communities, the venues, and see what we could do here in Crowley.
I'm just so curious how that biathlon facility and cross-country facility compares to Soldier Hollow. I mean, you got to spend several days watching those events.
Yes. So the best way for me to describe it in terms of something American we can understand is think about it in terms of a college football stadium versus a high school football stadium. And we're a very nice facility at Soldier Hollow, like very nice. They did a lot of upgrades and a lot of expansions recently. So it's a very beautiful space, very beautiful building. And but that's a different league out there in Europe.
Well, cross-country skiing in Europe is like American football here.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So they have a whole stadium full of Europeans that got on a train and showed up in Italy to cheer on their teams.
Oh, yeah. 19,000 people were there the day we were there, and 13,000 people in the stands, 6,000 people up on the course. It was just amazing. Their press room was huge. Their press boxes and facilities were amazing. One of the things I thought was really just a party atmosphere when you get up there. You're like, so that's something I'm really excited to recreate here at Heber Valley. But we got there, and they had they built this huge tent that can seat 3,000 people for food. It's like a dining hall, and there had a live band in there. People were in their Nordic Viking hats and dancing, and people were just hooping and hollering, having a great old time. And then, sure enough, the band starts playing the John Denver song, going West Virginia, and like all of us from Utah. Like, what's going on here? It was a great atmosphere and a great opportunity. So I really loved that facility. That was the place where I felt the biggest Olympic vibe and just thrill.
I
It was
love
great.
that. What are some of the aspects that you saw with Milan and Cortina in the preparations that you found most impressive as you went through? Because you arrived and then traveled to that biathlon.
Right. So I to get to Cortina, so just by way of geography, Milan and Cortina are not close to each other, right? And even Cortina is not very close to anything else. So I flew into the Venice airport and then had to get up to Cortina, which is about another 2.5, 3 hour drive. And so they were really that was pretty seamless. I get to the airport, I find they have a check-in station. I had to take my credentials there. They activate my credentials. They take me to a bus. And they say, okay, the next bus is leaving at this time. So to get up to Cortina, they take me over that transfer station. They get me up to Cortina, and that was pretty smooth. So that was pretty awesome.
So you have figured out transportation then.
Yeah, for the most part. There were some hiccups. Once you get into like getting to and from the airports was pretty good. In and around town, there was some hiccups there that was tough. But then I think they did a really good job of organizing their volunteers. In fact, they had I think they said they had 18,000 volunteers, and so they did a great job recruiting. And they said that they really only needed 15,000, so they had a few more than they needed, but that was good, so they could keep people moving,
Yeah.
people
Crowd control.
crowd control. Yes, exactly.
Event.
Um, and so that was pretty good. The actual organization of the game, of the venues, the games, the uh, getting the athletes to and from the places was really well done. So they, given the challenges of the distance between different things, they handled that pretty well. We're gonna have a very different opportunity here in Utah, where most venues are within an hour of Salt Lake City Airport or even the Olympic Village. So people are gonna have a lot more free time. We were at buses between 5 and 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
There's like
Just trying to get to.
two hikes, two in place, two from. Yeah.
What's one thing that you thought we should be doing that in Utah?
Should we doing?
We should be doing that. Besides the 3,000 person tent and jumping
Yeah.
and singing it.
Yeah. Well, that is huge. So something I think that we should be doing here in Utah is I didn't see it a lot there, so I think that's an opportunity for us to do it differently, is having our community be way more welcoming than some of the communities in Italy. We didn't stay in Cortina. We stayed in a little town called Lorenzo. It was about an hour and a half bus ride to Cortina. And beautiful little town. Think about, it's a beautiful little Swiss Italian town up there in the Dolomites. But you would have no idea the what's going on. Very little way of signage, very little way of activity, and even in Cortina itself, they had a main drag that had like a lot of shops and business along the way, which had the most vibe. And so the thing I thought about, we could do a better job of making sure visitors have an idea that, or a feeling that I have arrived to a cool place. I'm not just here to see a venue and get out of here. I'm here to experience a whole community. And I think that was part that was a missed opportunity in some of the places in Italy. And I think we can do that right here in Heber Valley and in also other places in Utah. I think all of us who were from Utah watching this were like, wow, we're gonna crush this, because we just do it differently here. We want to invite people and enjoy what we have here.
How was the food experience though?
So everyone's gonna laugh at me, because I only was there for like able to have like 4 or 5 dinners, because like it's my time. And I had pizza one night, calzone another night, a lasagna one night, and then cold cereal another night, because I had to get up early for
Any gelato during?
I had some gelato, yes. The gelato was really great in Aranzo, and I had it at the airport. I went, oh, that's so great. So it was real. So that was fun. And in fact, when I went to the gelato in Aranzo, there's this old little shop there, and it's an old gentleman, and he'll take a look at me, and he says, "You from Utah?" I'm like, "How?" I wasn't wearing anything that said Utah, and I'm like, "I don't know how you do."
Just had the look.
Has
The Utah glow.
had the Utah glow or something, and I ordered my gelato, and then he's like, I didn't have any euros, and just paying everything with card, and he's like, my machine's broken, and so I'm like, oh shoot, I don't have any cash. I'll go get some. He's like, no, just take it. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna be the American who just stiffs you. So, um, he gave me the gelato, and I went and found that somebody traded some cash and gave it back to him, and he was surprised that I gave it back. So it was
It's the kindness, honestly, of those Italians.
just willing to like, yeah, you're only here for another day, so have enjoy. And like I wasn't trying to, finagle him or anything or wheel a deal. Just like this machine didn't work. And so, but I'm glad we left it on a good note there. That was a fun cultural exchange with the Italian folks there.
Let's switch gears and talk about Soldier Hollow.
Okay.
So 2002, I actually had an opportunity to be a volunteer at the biathlon event. I wore my vest this morning, and it's one of those events that you are there from beginning of the Olympics to the very last day. It's one of the few venues that is used the entire length of the Olympics, plus the Para Games.
Yeah.
I don't think people really understand that once Soldier Hollow was built, it's been an ongoing facility for training and hosting international events.
Yeah.
We're not just preparing for a 2034 2-week event with Para.
And it's quiet all the time.
It's actually very well utilized, both winter and summer. So let's talk about your role in working with Soldier Hollow and the international events that they see coming up.
Yeah, we are very proud supporters of Soldier Hollow. It's a great venue to bring in quite a bit of people. And the neat thing about Soldier Hollow is we can have it as impactful to the community as we want, or as least impactful to the community as we want. Meaning, like, we could have 30,000 people up there, not that many, but a ton of people up there, and the rest of the valley could be relatively untouched. Being they can kind of get in and out down the canyons and things without much harm. Or we can flip that and say, we want those people to come into the community and buy our shops and stores and everything. So we have that flexibility with Soldier Hollow, which I think is really neat. And one other thing about Soldier Hollow is it is a great venue in the wintertime for the Nordic stuff, the biathlon. But in the summertime, they can do mountain biking. They can do races there. They can, you can go have your own Nordic experience by shooting on the biathlon range. They've done a pretty good job to bring more people out there. Even next week, in fact, the Soldier Hollow is hosting the NCAA championship event because we have low snow here, but we actually have snow, and it was going to be hosted in Montana, and they had no snow, so it's at Soldier Hollow, and it was basically turn the key, I'm ready to go. And I think that's really neat that we have that facility here, and it hosts great cultural events like the Sheepdog Classic, to mountain biking, to tubing in the winter. So a lot of great things are happening out there. I think there are some opportunities for some upgrades and some improvements to beautify it a little bit better. It's a facility that gets used, and so it needs some paint and polish every once in a while. So just like any other facility that gets used, and I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, and the state really has partnered with the Utah Olympic Legacy Foundation. Recently completed a $13 million improvement on the technical building, which is now the Olympic Center, which will host those broadcasters that you talked about, sponsors, but is used on a daily with the ski rental shop and the little cafe that's there. They improved the water lines.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that, especially this winter, people have asked is what happens if there's no snow? Soldier Hollow actually has the ability to create the snow that is needed, which is why they have snow for this NCAA event and tubing, is they have improved that water system so that they can make snow.
Right.
And so we're not just dependent on Mother Nature anymore.
And in fact, they're testing out something called snow farming. I've heard of this. This is so if you go to Soldier Hollow, there you'll see that they are just um, cranking out as much snow as they can into this like concentrated pile, and they're trying to get to I think 25 feet deep of snow. And the idea is that they can cover it and keep it insulated, and that it will last throughout the summer. And their hope is by the time you have Thanksgiving, they'll have cross country skiing available because they'll have that snow they've harvested it in the wintertime ready to go. So they're testing it out now and seeing how that continues to work. And by 8 years from now, it should be well established. And so that shouldn't be a major issue as long as we don't get a lot of 60-degree weather days in 8 years. But
Right.
that'll be good.
Well, as we do march forward towards 2034, what's a message that you want Heber Valley residents to understand as we prepare for the Olympics, that it's not just about preparing the venue at Soldier Hollow, preparing the community itself?
That is a great question. And I think that's something that a couple things I came away with is this idea that, yeah, Olympics is 2 weeks, right? And it is a very important part of what's going to happen here in our valley. But there's a lead up to it, and there's going to be a long time after it's gone. Right? So, how can we use the Soldier Hollow, the Olympics, here in Soldier Hollow to benefit our community before, during, and long after the Olympics are coming on? And so, a couple things I thought of from a community standpoint is it's going to be really tempting, and I know people will probably do it, but it will really tempting to just put your house up on Airbnb or rent it out for 2 weeks and make a lot of cash and leave the valley. That's gonna be very tempting. But my message to locals is be a part of the Olympic spirit. I was only 17 years old in 2002, and I didn't get a chance I didn't take the opportunity to be a part of that Olympic spirit as much as I should have. And having been in Italy, there is something different about the cultural exchange, international experience of people coming together in one spot. And this is a great chance for you as a resident to experience the games from a spectator standpoint, but also cultural engagement standpoint. Think hard about inviting a family to come stay with you. There's going to be athletes and their families who are going to need places to stay. And, hosting athletes' families would be fantastic. Hosting international volunteers could be fantastic. Fantastic ways for you to bring culture and a different culture into your home, to learn from others and have that vibe and that spirit. So not only just bringing people into your community, but also participate. I learned that there is an equal number of people who come to the games without tickets as people who buy tickets.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. And so we're going to have people who want to come spectate and be a part of this whole extravaganza that is the Olympics. And they're not all going to be up at Soldier Hollow. They're going to be throughout Utah and mingling and enjoying. So we have places like Midway Town Square, Heber Square in the park and plaza there, and to develop these places where we as a community want to go and engage and be a part of, and either have watch parties or music and dancing or whatever the case may be. We have time to figure that out, but this would be great things for us as residents to enjoy that experience of, hey, this is a time for us to have this really cool exchange. And so my plea to the community is participate, enjoy it. You may only have this may be the only time in your lifetime that you'll get to see this, or maybe you're lucky and you get to do it again some other time. But yeah.
So, and for me, it's coming full circle. I had an opportunity to be a city host in 1995 when we were trying to win the 1998 games, which we did not.
Mm-hmm.
Then we won the 2002 games, and I had an opportunity to be there for 2 weeks at Soldier Hollow. Worked at Soldier Hollow, saw those athletes that come in and train, and that's what people sometimes forget when they think about the money and the investment, is the athletes that have spent a lifetime preparing for this chance to represent their country
Right.
at an international competition. And it's not until you volunteer or you're on venue that you truly feel that spirit of camaraderie and competition. But there's something different about the Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
It truly is this feeling of worldwide coming together, unity in the spirit of the games
Right.
and competition. But there's just something about cheering for your country.
Once you don't double touch the curling stone.
That's true. That's true. But I just appreciate, you coming in and sharing your experience about Italy. And I would encourage anyone that is interested in learning more about Soldier Hollow to volunteer.
Yes.
There's so many opportunities before 2034, either NCAA, we host IBUs, international biathlon competitions,
Bike events.
the bike events. Now we're hosting international bike events. They're always looking for people. And if you're not a technical support, you can always be crowd control or just the token cheerleader, which I'm really good at. And like you said, this is an opportunity as a community to embrace the Olympics and embrace that preparation. So what it's going to take is really people getting behind the games and volunteering.
Right. You know what? Some of the infrastructure or projects that I think would be good for our community is to look at things that are long-term impact, right? So, for example, there's been an idea of running a railroad line up to Soldier Hollow, actually all the way up to Soldier Hollow. And from a transportation standpoint, if that's a fantastic idea, get 500, 600 people on a train back out of that area. Otherwise, you have this long line of traffic all the time. And in buses, get 50, 60, 80 people at a time. So that's a great thing.
It's a good people mover.
Good people mover, but also for a long-term vision, what could that do to bringing, enhancing the experience of Soldier Hall long-term? Not just for this 2 weeks, but long-term. How could you have could you use that line to bring additional events all year round? The trail in your Provo Canyon will be finished eventually, and getting people to and from Soldier Hall, renting bikes. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and from a long-term perspective. Additionally, if we have this transportation hub, say in central part of Heber, the train, the Southfield Park, and the new high school, some parking district there. What about some other transportation, some circular that gets people around town that's always going? And that's something that could live starting soon, right? We already see that traffic in Midway is a problem, or is getting congested because parking. So what if you park somewhere else and you just have this circular, it's hop on, hop off, easy to get around. So we try to limit visitor traffic in just certain spots, and then having some sort of circular to get people around. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, really looking at our valley as a whole,
Right.
not just as areas of events. We know that Swiss Days can host 100,000 people in 2 days, but what does that take on the greater scheme of things with parking and transportation? The Olympics is just like that. It's just on a bigger scale.
Right. And then I already mentioned the things about the downtowns with Heber, New Ways downtowns. What I'm trying to always say, what is not just to help the guest and visitor, but these are things that would be great for us locals. I think that's an important aspect, that we understand that as we create these downtown places there, that we as locals want to go frequent to be part of. That's where our guests will want to be. They want to see us. They want to see, hey, what do the locals do? And so, and those would be great things for us to do. So if we think about traffic mitigation issues that are really good for not just the 2 weeks, but long term, and also creating these downtown experiences that would be great for us as a community long term. And that's just tip of the iceberg of things we could contribute.
As we wrap up, I keep thinking of Team Soldier Hollow.
Yeah.
And local kids that are practicing right now to go to international competition. And there's an opportunity for this community to support a future Olympian in the 2034 games by participating with Team Soldier Hollow, donating, or just being willing to support an athlete that maybe financially would not be able to travel to some of these competitions had it not been for a donor
Yeah,
for support it. So, Dallin, this has been so great, and we could talk for hours.
sure could.
We have a lot of interaction, but I just appreciate you coming on and talking about the Italian experience and also just the road to 2034 and what it's going to take to be ready.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
And in some ways, I'm like, oh, 8 years. That's not long. That's not enough time. So we gotta get moving.
And yet we have been preparing for a long time, over 30 years. And I think that's why the IOC saw the opportunity to bring those games back.
Yeah.
Is we do have facilities that we are using year round, year over year, and improving constantly to be ready for the 2024 games. So it's going to be a great time. I'll be there. You'll be there.
We'll be there.
And so again, Rachel Kahler with Community Alliance for Main Street here with Dallin Koecher, Heber Valley Tourism, Economic Development, and Chamber of Commerce. And listen to us next time. We've got some great guests coming up, but we just appreciate your time.
Oh, anytime.
And thank you to Gordon Law Group and Heber Life Magazine for sponsoring this episode.